Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. People who don't like Ethereum say that one of its problems is that its monetary policy is a lot like the US dollar, right? Over time, choices are made about things like whether monetary policy will be tighter or not, how many loans will be available, and so on. Once more, the story isn't as clear. It's not as certain. I also find it interesting that Ethereum has said for a long time, hey, we're the smart contract platform, and they were the leader in that space. There is now a lot of competition though, right? It's not the quickest or cheapest. There are now these other blockchains. Actually, I think that money will be coming into the Ethereum ETFs. Of course, the price of Ether will go up, but not by as much as some people are hoping because of these other factors. Anthony Pompliano, the CEO of Professional Capital Management and a well-known figure in the crypto market, recently joined CNBC for a conversation. Tony Pompliano talked about the SEC's approval of Ethereum ETFs and what that means for the industry. He also talked about an update to the Bitcoin ETF and how politics affect prices. Anthony Pompliano talks a lot about the Ethereum ETF's historic start and huge inflows. In just one day, there were net amounts of more than $100 million. He brings up how popular Bitcoin is by comparing it to the QQQ ETF. Pompliano wonders if the second ETF will have the same effect, pointing to a drop in excitement and media interest. Pompliano says that Ethereum's story is less organized because of its technological base and the fact that there is more competition. He talks about putting out the Ethereum ETF and how investors might be able to diversify their shares by splitting their money between Ethereum and Bitcoin. He does not think the flows will be as big as Bitcoin's though, because ETF holders will not be able to stake or receive cash flow. Pompliano looks at the Bitcoin flows and sees that a lot of money is coming into these accounts. He believes that Wall Street will start to watch altcoins now that the Ethereum ETF has been approved, which will make the crypto market bigger. People who follow Pompliano stress the portfolio method, in which they use all coins to test their ideas. When Pompliano talks about Ethereum's monetary policy, he points out that it is chosen in cycles, just like the US dollar. He questions Ethereum's power and brings up other blockchains that are competing with it. It looks like not as much money will be moving into Ethereum ETFs as was first thought. You can watch parts of the talk to learn more about what Anthony Pompliano said to Bitcoin News. You want to see more videos like this one, please like it. Subscribe to the channel and turn on post alerts. Have fun with the movie. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin ETF. I believe it is an important event and likely the best ETF ever to be launched. The BlackRock Bitcoin ETF has had more net flows than QQQ so far this year, which is an interesting fact. So there are huge flows there, more than $500 million just yesterday. A lot of folks say, well, that was the first one. Will the second one be the same size? That's not true, I think. Before I got on, I checked all the big news sites and found that not as many people were talking about it. That's why the media attention, hype, and other things like that aren't really there. That makes you wonder why not as many people are talking about it. What I think is hard about Ethereum is that the story isn't as clear. It is very clear when you use Bitcoin. It's like digital gold. When we talk about Ethereum, we're talking about a platform for technology. There's a lot more competition and so on. But if you go to Bitwise and talk to the people there, they're starting ETHW today, they'll tell you that there is diversification. That's very popular on Wall Street. So maybe the good thing about Ethereum is that it will make people say, well, I don't want just one, I'd like to have a few of them. This is Bitcoin. It's Ethereum. That's enough for me to do a 7030 split. Because the story isn't as clear, I think we got to see what these flows will look like. You won't be able to get to the betting. The cash flow that people like so much about Ethereum isn't available to people who own these ETFs. I also don't think the flows will be nearly as big as Bitcoin. The question now is how much of an effect this will really have on prices. Show us how the flows work on Bitcoin, if that's going to be a model at all. It doesn't matter if you said the 7030 idea or something else. You'd still say, well, should you just say that? This is going to be 30% of whatever that was yes. So I think that the Bitcoin amounts are pretty good. Some of these funds have 10, 15, or $19 billion in them. Really, this is real money going into these things. The acceptance of the Ethereum ETF is interesting to me. But what I think it means most to me is less about Ethereum and more about the rest of the market. So far, this makes me think that all altcoins will come to Wall Street. It might take some time. There might need to be more clarity in the rules. Some people may treat them badly, but these things will happen on Wall Street too. What went from 0 to 1? Is it going to be Bitcoin? Doesn't it? Is now going to be a crypto business. That's interesting because people who use this portfolio model or method will start to use it for all crypto. One of the things that I think people don't like about Ethereum is that its monetary policy is a lot like the US dollar. Okay, every so often choices are made about whether the monetary policy will be tighter or not, how many will be available, and so on. Once more, the story isn't as clear. It's not as certain. Also, I think it's interesting that Ethereum has long said, hey, we're the smart contract platform, and they were the leader in that field. There is now a lot of competition though, right? It's not the fastest. It's not the least expensive. There are now these other blockchains. With that in mind, I think that money will move into the Ethereum ETFs. Even though the price of Ether will go up, it won't be by as much as people are thinking because of these other factors. Anthony Pompliano talks about the big inflows and historic launch of the Bitcoin ETF. He questions whether the Ethereum ETF can work because its story is less clear and it competes with other ETFs. Pompliano believes that altcoins will reach Wall Street and grow the cryptocurrency market, while Ethereum's inflows will be limited. This is in contrast to Bitcoin's large inflows and clear digital gold story. Anthony Pompliano talks about the investments he has made. He says that he sold all of his Ethereum last year and bought Solana, which has done better. He says that Solana is moving forward. It costs less and moves faster than Ethereum and has a smaller market cap. As Pompliano points out, the number of transactions on Solana's decentralized exchange is growing, which is taking market share away from Ethereum. He thinks Solana has a lot more steam and will do better than expected. Pompliano says that Bitcoin's recent price changes show that it is vulnerable to unknown factors and political events around the world. He says that Bitcoin dropped right after news spread that President Trump had been the target of an attempted murder, but it quickly rose again when it was found that Trump was fine. Bitcoin also responded to the news that Vice President Biden would not be running for government again. Pompliano says that Bitcoin is blurring the lines between standard finance and cryptocurrency and is now a part of the real financial world. Pompliano says that when news comes out, the markets feel fear before they run for it. He talks about what he felt when he heard about the attempted murder of President Trump. His first thought was fear, but then he thought about what was going on. Pompliano believes that this behavior can be seen in the way the market moves, with the price of Bitcoin responding quickly to news and events that are hard to predict. Pompliano also talks about the regulatory situation. He says that even though Bitcoin has come a long way, too many rules are still a problem. He wants to know which altcoins will be the first to sell, and how governmental approvals, especially those for the Ethereum ETF, will change the value of altcoins. Pompliano says that his second largest investment is Solana, after Bitcoin. He is keeping a close eye on the market. He wants to know what assets will do better when rules change and how the market will react. Here are some more clips from the talk with Anthony Pompliano that will help us learn more. I have a lot of opinion. Last year, I sold all of the Ethereum I had. Solana did better than I thought it would. So I thought, so you're now a Solana maximalist? No, it's the second most important job. The way we think about it is that the Bitcoin position we already have will stay in place. But that's a whole different world. The idea is that you should be in the product that is cheaper, moves faster, and is likely to get more flows. And if you look at DEX volume, right? Decentralized stock markets. On Solana, the market share of Ethereum is actually going down. We just think there's a lot more speed. It's an asset with a smaller market cap that is likely to do better. Let's turn the screen around.